Hello guys, hello, welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Daily Teachings. Before we start, quick disclaimer, anything we discuss is just educational purpose, nothing is a financial advice. All right guys, big earnings season in full steam. Amazing day. We did had a couple of losers this morning, but we had insane day after that. We had only 19% people red in the community. Even after that, most of them turned green, and there's a reason for that. I will explain it to you in a bit, but you can see that how the traders were performing today. On top of that, many traders in the community grew their accounts a significant amount, 6%, 11%, 20%, Refil, Wafi, Tune. A lot of traders did that today in the community. And so why was that? Why did we do that? So that's why I want to show you the repeatable teachings, because every trader is doing like we always say, we're not an alert service. We are educational guiding community, my free teachings, and of course my teachings that we do in the community and the live guidance. So it's all coming together for these traders. That's how they're finding success. So I want to teach you that, show you that. If you're new here, we will do a quick introduction. Anybody who's new to our YouTube accounts, new to my X accounts, new to our business X accounts, or new to our community. So let's start with the introduction first, quick. So we trade a repeatable system called Ripster EMA cloud system, and all the other teachings, my be it a swing trade, day trade investing, psychological teachings, the mental, the risk reward, all the teachings that I've been teaching for free over 8-9 years on X, then on Ripster Education, and then of course on YouTube as well. That my system, thousands of traders across the world use Ripster Cloud system to trade, and they're finding success. You can go on ripstereducation.com, see the lives I have impacted with my free education. We also use all this system in our private community, which is one of the largest online educational trading community. Not an alert or signal service, but a serious traders professional community where I'm live on the voice, where I'm on a screen share, where we plan. Thousands of traders are on our trade floor. We have so many free tools there: option scanners, option flow scanners, stock scanners, breaking news alerts, order flows, MOC. The tools, $500-$600 worth free for the traders in the community that we use to trade consistently, keeping our losers small, our winners big. So what we do every morning, today I share this plan free as well on my X account. So a lot of the traders on our X were also following that. So we had this plan. We make this plan in the pre-market. I make this plan live. Me and my team, we gather all the news, all the earning plays, all the index stocks, all the upgrades, downgrades, anything that I think can move, I make it red. And today actually most of the red plays were the ones which really worked out. We'll go through all of them that really worked out pretty well for us. Most of the red plays I made red. You will see that. So it doesn't have to work all the time, but based upon my experience and knowledge, I make them red. I give a support level, resistance level. I give initial plan, so my traders, they can take this plan and they can trade it themselves. Of course, they need to know all the teachings, all the concepts that I teach you every day. These concepts are also in so many hundreds of hours of webinars that I have in community, or 1,000+ YouTube videos that I have on YouTube. So that's how we plan. We will come back to this when we are recapping our trades. We also share the daily levels for SPY, QQQ, MAX 7 ETFs. You could trade those. We trade crypto stocks. We share those levels and the plan for them in the pre-market. We trade the future levels. My guidance, live guidance traders can trade futures. We'll talk about it today as well. Then we also have something called day 2, day 3 setups. Day 2, day 3 setups are amazing setups today. We are going to cover a few of those day 3 setups. We'll talk about SCHW and PLTR. I'll tell you why the day 2, day 3 setup is so important strategy to trade. So we trade low floors, we trade IPOs, we trade a lot of things. Most of the good trades are early in the morning, and then rest of the day you can relax, or we have midday setups, you can do all that. But anyways, you're here to learn, you are here to see no BS, no hindsight, real trades. You can go to our trade recap gallery, many times. You can also see my entries as well. But I want to teach you with my live guidance, showing you my timestamp guidance, so you guys can also, I cannot show you what I talk on the voice because I'm on the voice all day, but I will show you what I alert or guide my traders as well. So let's start with this recap, earnings special trade recap. So as you see this morning, the tweet I did, when I tweeted about the game plan today, we had a lot of setups. We had like insane amount of earnings. You can see that I tweeted this game plan. We had insane amount of earnings. But one of our top setups today was ALAB. Really good company, beat on revenue, beat on EPS, good investing stock. But you don't just go blindly and buy the stock if you're an investor. You watch. You need to have a system. Because if you bought ALAB today, right at the open as an investor, you were down. You're down almost 20% from the yesterday, or you're down 10% from the open, because it was a gapping down. You want to see the price action. So what was the plan on ALAB? So let's look at the plan on ALAB. The plan on ALAB beats on revenue, beats on EPS, 160 support, 162 support, 166 resistance. Watch 3450 push for amateur long. No go under 161. So what happens? Look carefully. What happens? We right at the open, be ready. You gotta be ready. If you select your put, one call, one put, be ready with that. If you're selling options, be ready with that. If you're writing shares, be ready with your share market order or limit order. As soon as you see that, I was on the voice. This is my voice guidance. I see the weakness. I say short ALAB. It's not a long. As soon as it breaks 160, short it, and I gave the target of 150. It was breaking 160, and I gave the target of 150 right away, right at the open. First 2-3 minutes, gave the targets of 150, and boom. In next 30 minutes, we were at 150. Right, so big flush you covered there. So let's see my timestamp guidance here. So this is a risk reward, right? If you're risking it like $500 on this trade, you were making over $2,000, right? If you, let's say you shorted 200 shares, right? And your risk is like $500 or $3, 161, your stop is at 162. But by the time those $500 hit 150, you're actually making $5,000, right? So even if you're 500 shares, you're making $5,000. Even if you're risking $1,500, if you're risking $500, you're making 1,500 shares. Also, of course, the put options. If you look at the put options, let's say you were trading 145 puts. Right away it went from 180s to the 680s. Really profitable and green trade. Now what happens is in the middle of the day we cover most of the position here. You can see my timestamp guidance. We were almost curling it. Actually, we were curling it and we stopped out once. It failed the curl, Ripster Clouds curl. You re-short it. You short it again. Take 500 shares. Short it right here, under 150. Put your stops at 151. I told the re-short. Take it back all the way to 143. You make another $2,000-$3,000 to the downside. If you're shorting 100 shares, you do it. If you're trading puts, you take another couple 100% gain. So you see this move from 160 all the way to 143. Is where you make money. Even though it was gapping down, good earnings, but you see that it was under all the MTF clouds. I think these are the MTF clouds. I'm sure this is MTF clouds. Something is wrong there on those clouds. Yeah, so it looks like the MTF clouds are pretty thin for that. So we had those MTF clouds there. Definitely, I see that we broke those some of those clouds today on ALAB, and then it was a bearish short today all day. So all day it was bearish. I see that very thin cloud. Yeah, there was a very thin MTF clouds right here. This was the daily MTF clouds there. So you see the power of the MTF clouds, and it's a bearish. You take it short all the way. You make a plan in the pre-market, just like I showed you here. Pre-market planning, confirm short, pre-market break, re-short, and just take it all the way down. Beautiful trade, huge winner for the community. Literally community killed it on ALAB today. If you look here, the trading floor, our community was on the fire on that short on ALAB. Beautiful trade there. Clint got $8 per share short. UV got a short. Texas, amazing short. Beautiful. Let's go to the next one. So the next one we're going to take a look at is UPST. So we're going to take a look at UPST. So let's take a look what happened the UPST here. So UPST, let's go to our pre-market plan. Always the plan. Always that I give you a plan to trade in the pre-market. So the UPST, the plan on UPST was 1 hour MTF setup, long over 1 hour MTF, bullish to neutral bias, 38.50 support, 39 resistance. So you see this is the 1 hour MTF, right? I was looking to long it over 1 hour MTF. When I see this candle right here, it becomes short for me. Right away it becomes a short. I said, and I don't want people to chase it. If you are trading it, you hit the market order. When I'm on voice, a lot of new members, so I don't want them to chase it. I just tell them, short it. And of course, most of my traders, if they focus on UPST, they're already short, even if I say that, right? That's why I make it red. I know UPST likes to move. Good stock for the small account traders. So I told them to short it. And as they started to flush, I told them to move the stops lower or break even. And from there on, we flushed. Even if you go to 36 short, we flushed to 32. Nice little trade on options. You could trade 33 puts. They went from 50 cents to $1.70. Even if you were a little late, you got $1.70. You still got 100% trade, right? You could short. Your stops would be here, right here. Stops would be right here, and the pre-market lows becomes a resistance. So that's where your stops would be. If you're shorting at 36, you have $1 stops. So if you're shorting 36, you're trying to make $4, $3. That's a good risk reward. I'm just moving the 3-minute time frame, so it helps you out. I'm going to build an indicator so you could see those clouds here. But this is what we are trying to do here. Trading the 3-minute time frame can help you, but I usually stay on 10-minute because I can still trade with those 10-minute because I know where my risk reward is. So anyways, that was a short. We covered 60% on the first flush into 10 a.m. It bounced again. I told the trader it is still staying short versus 35. You can re-short it. Just hold the shorts back at the double bottom at the lows, and once it curled, we got out, right? So simple trade, nothing too super crazy. We are always on the right side of the trend because we trade Ripster Cloud System. Ripster Cloud System is the best trend trading system. There is nothing compared to it. for the traders in the world. So I show you, that's what I'm showing you. Huge volume today. We'll be watching UPST for a day to set up another earning winner. Beautiful. Let's go to the next one. All right, so next one we're going to talk about is Sharp. I'm just going to try to go fast today. So let's look at here. So often traders tell me, "Hey, Rip, I couldn't get in." What I asked them, what was your preparation? What ticker did you focus in the pre-market, right? I mean, it's easier to make excuses, but harder to improve those excuses, right? It's easier, we can say every time, "Oh, I always miss, I always miss, I always miss," right? But it's at least you need to try, right? If you're trying and picking a stock which doesn't work every day, when you're doing something wrong, because it's very hard, right? I'm talking about the traders in the community who join and then they're completely in a different stock. So anyways, talking about Sharp, you see that I made it red as well, and 30% revenue growth, 138 stops, 145. I said that it already completed MTF magnet, bullish bias for MTF break, no long under that. So my bullish bias was over this MTF cloud right here. You see this? So that was my bullish bias. But when it breaks down here, it's a gap and crap. It's a gap and crap. It's as simple as that. You take a short right away. If you can't take the short, you take a short right here. I told the trader the shop. So even on my voice guidance, I told the traders right on the open, Shop is a gap and crap. It's a gap and crap. Sadly, we were bullish bias, but it's a gap and crap. So right away you short it. I gave the stops of 128, 127. You short right here on the MTF breakdown, 1 hour MTF breakdown. It can still go lower. When it fills the gap, it can still go lower. So from that short, 1828 right here, MTF bear flag. This is the MTF bear flag hit 113. I gave the targets of 115. We even went lower than that, 110. Right? Then RGB was coming in, we rolled the short here, and he was giving this curl, and you could trade the curl back from this flag all the way back to 3450, and RGB came in, step-by-step guidance on the curl. But you see, these are the home runs. You got to be ready for those. You clearly see that there's a big resistance. It's not going over that. You clearly see it's breaking this cloud. You get in, you buy puts, you whatever you want to do, and you don't really need to size in this place, right? Let's look at some put here. Let's just look at maybe we look at 130 puts, right, closer to the money. Let's see if they're liquid or not, or maybe we can try this 125 puts, right? So they traded not a lot of volume, but definitely there was share. You just even take one, right? Say you take one at $4, we go 14. Right? And that's late. Of course, if you're early, you could take the $2 load or goes to 14. You didn't need to go crazy, right? $4, 400, one or two contracts of $400, $800, and you make $2,000 of that. That's a good trade, right? So that's how you're going to trade these opportunities. That's how you'll be ready for them, and that's how you kill them. All right, let's go to the next trade here. So next trade we're going to look at is Robinhood. We talked about Robinhood in the recent videos, how we traded the bounce on the Robinhood, but Robinhood is back again, bearish. Robinhood was very interesting today because we took it down and we did something called Ripster 512 clouds. I will explain it in a bit. So let's see what was our plan on Robinhood. Amateur moves are very important on these kinds of moves. The Robinhood, the first move, another red play, highlighted play. Call if 78 holds and push over 80. Cautious if it breaks. Use the pre-market lows. 78, 76, 72. Resistance pivot 80. So that's what you have to watch. Beats by 0.03. Revenue miss. So what happens? So you see that we're watching this 80 level. Remember, this 80 level, you need to lower your levels. We're gapping down. We're not buying it. Even if you don't short it, you're not buying it. You're saving the money, listening to my guidance or learning from what I teach every day. So my traders in the community, or even the traders who have learned from me over 1,000 years, they know how I preach. For me, it's more important is to save your money. So even if you're not going long, that's pretty good. But you could short it if you want, And in our community, you need to be bull and bear. You can't just bull if you're an active trader. If you're a long-term investor, that's fine. But if you're an active trader, you need to be ready for the short opportunities because it's elevator down. Anyways, so I told the traders to watch 80 confirmation for long or short. I told them no longs as long as it's in the range of 77 and 80. This was the range, right? It kind of stuck around 70, but still under the clouds. I gave the stops at 79 right here. Then we moved the stops to 78. Since it was holding 77, few of us reduced the size of the short, but then boom came the dump, right? From 77, dumped right into 74.53. So you can see my timestamp guidance. We moved the stops to 79, then we moved the stops to 78. We were targeting 74, and we hit almost 74, right? 100% ATR, but it hit 74.25. Then it tried to curl, failed the curl. It was a reshort. Then came the final curl. That's when I sent the price alert on the curls. Look here, I sent the alert. Second curl try versus 75. You buy here at 75.50, 75.60, 70 cents. And from there, you hold the curls. You board the call options, the shares. Let's say you're risking $700 and we're hitting $78. You're making $1,500 and you just $700. That's a pretty good risk reward trade. You just have to move your stops up. So that's called Ripster 512 calls. And I just told you how we short in the morning planning. So you got to be ready. You got to be planned. If Hood is a famous stock, so much liquidity. So you need to be ready for these setups to trade these setups there. All right, so let's talk about the next one. Next one, also one of our favorite stocks, favorite investing names, Net. Really did good earnings, but sadly it gave a gap and crap. It tested our patience for a bit. Let's take a look here. RGB was on the top of it. One of our senior traders, continuous guidance to the traders. So he hit the bear flag short. I'll show you a little bit in a bit. So you see this gap and crap versus 203. So let's look at the pre-market plan on that. Let's go to the pre-market planning. The pre-market planning on a Net, trade versus 200, long versus that, crap under that. So you already see we are not, it's not holding 34.50. So we can short it versus 203. You see this? 203, put your stops. But it was giving us a little tough time, right? It did flush to 195. It's easier if I show you 2-minute candles or 3-minute candles. You can see it was flushing, bouncing, flushing, bouncing. It was staying under 203, never got over 203. But it was not an easy trade if you oversized. If you're a small size, you could wait. You could cover the flush to 193. Then it swiped back over 200, never pulled over 203. Then you could re-short it. Again, when it failed 200, he showed it, and it eventually did fill most of the gap and completed the MTF magnet. RGV hit the bear flag, continuous guidance, and you can see that where it hit the bear flag, and he mentioned the MTF magnet. Beautiful guidance by RGV, step by step. You could literally short like 100 shares, at 202s, even 200s. And you're risking $200-300. By the end of the day, you're making $1,000. That's a good trade. The traders usually oversize on these setups. But another repeatable gap and crap setup, different setup. All these are different setups, right? I showed you gap down and fade, gap and crap. Usually this is a gap down and fade. So you was also our short today in the community. Let's take a look at the pre-market planning on you. So you was another earning setup here. Highlighted as a red play. Call over 23 only. No go or short under that. No go or short under that. So when it couldn't push over 23, it was a short. Right here, you could fade it. And yes, of course, you would call it later. So next one I'm going to look at is Micron. Micron was our loser in the morning. I told the traders to long it. See, it had a tier 1 upgrade. So we had a tier 1 upgrade on Micron this morning. Let's take a look here. So Micron had a tier 1 upgrade. Let's take a look here. Where is it? Where is it? Right here. Morgan Stanley. Remember, this is a tier 1 long setup. I have shown you 1,000 times. Bullish buys to long. 400 breakout long. Risk the MTF. I said risk the MTF. Right? So what happened? So initially, we longed it. 400 breakout, pulled back, we stopped out. Now look here. Where is it bouncing from? 34.50. Still over the 1 hour MTF. Calls. This is what you long, right? So many traders longed it. You could see that we were breaking out of this level, this downtrend line, 512 calls, and you could trade the 400 breakout or you could trade this call. So it's still bullish, right? You can go to 30-minute time frame and you'll see that it's still bullish. Yes, you stopped out, but nobody stops you to get back in. You can watch this trend line develop and you can get back right there in. So yeah, MU was our morning loser. It didn't work, and because market was heavy, we'll cover it in a bit here. So we had another loser in the morning, that was LYFT. All our losers in the morning was long because market was heavy. So LYFT, I told the traders to long it. Our plan was to long over this 34.50 clouds, and we longed it. I pulled back. I gave the stops of 14.20. When it broke that, we took a loss, right? So look, took like a 40-50 cents loss there. This setup was the gap down and reversal. But you see that the amateur candle was bullish. It will happen sometimes, right? Even the short was very choppy because it never broke the pre-market lows. So that was our loser today. Let's go to the next one. Next one I want to specifically mention is Tesla. So the reason I want to mention Tesla, it was very interesting because what Tesla did was Tesla gave the long at the open. And when the market was heavy, remember, when markets start to sell off, your longs are going to pull back. Index stocks. You really got to watch those long names, right? So Tesla, the pre-market plan, just want to talk about it quickly. 2021 MTF breakout, MTF magnet set up to long, 425, 426, 428. And you can see that MTF magnet, MTF to the MTF. So that was a good morning trade. If you took the breakout right here, 429 all the way to 436, you could literally make $7 or $5. But this was the setup. That setup technically completed, and of course market was heavy, pulled back, and this was another MTF magnet from MTF back to MTF to the lower MTF. MTF to the MTF to the lower MTF. So it's a very important MTF setup. Remember this concept. This concept will make you a lot of money here. All right. So let's look at our next setups here. We're gonna look at some of our our setups here. We're gonna look at we call it day 2 setups. SCHW. You see day 2 short versus 100 psychological level. Then we had PLTR, day 2 short under yesterday lows. These are day 2 setups. SCHW top short versus 100, right? PLTR top. Short under 136 and short the pops. You see that? Short, pre-market lows break, short it. So, there was insane amount of setups, guys. That's how the traders in the community were just killing. There was simply insane amount of trades there. I can cover many more earning setups. I can talk about Shark Ninja, from MTF clouds, went crazy. You can see that even on the Shark Ninja, what I said was, let's take a look here. So on Shark Ninja, what was the plan in the pre-market? I said Shark Ninja, used to be big earning mover, trade versus 1 hour MTF, neutral bullish. And it used to be run. It used to run. And that's exactly what I did. It ran from the 1 hour MTF clouds all the way to the highs. So you see that how the moves happen, and the pre-market plan is top notch, right? This was our system. There's no other system, like this one. So it was really, really good. There was another one, LEU. That was a monster short from 248 all the way to 206, and it was shorted by the trader in the community. You could see that Liu was also one of our top players here. Let me see here, Liu. Curl versus 245, short under the pre-market lows. And that's how, I didn't even mention it, but one of my traders in the community, very proud of him, Crawfish, he shorted it and he took like $40 per share profit. Insane, insane, guys. That's what why we're proud of. That's why we say we're not a spoon-fed company. We just work with our traders so they master their setups. They can trade on their own. I often joke you can trade on Island if I leave you. There are many other trades. RGV was on GFS today. GFS was all day long. Guidance by RGV. You can see that RGV was long. He called it long right at the open. With D trades, he longed that GF. So you can see the pre-market plan on GFS, short on 3450, bounce if it holds. But RGB was focused on GFS. He took a long with 3450, pre-market lows, pre-market highs became a support, and it continued to run. He gave a target of 48, and we hit the target of 48. It ran from 44, 48. Beautiful guidance by RGB, step by step, step by step. I mean, there are so many opportunities to make money in the community, guys. All right. Let's take a look here at SPY QQQ. So like I said, there are so many opportunities today in the market to make money because days like this is when you kill it, right? I'll show you how we traded SPY QQQ and how we did all those shorts. You can literally see the traders just killing that. You see that all the trades we just discussed, PLTR, U, Taiwan Semi, IGV, SPX, Micron. So many players. Traders were IWM, Hood, PLTR, UPST, 100% gainers. Traders are literally growing their account, right? Traders are literally growing to accounts with these repeatable strategies. You could see that. Look at that, 100% on UPST net. They shorted the shares percent. The traders were doing it. So you could literally see that, and that's because of the repeatable setups, nothing else. And the traders growing their account 6%, 11%, 20%. So that's the beauty of education and repeatable systems. Something I just want to show you quickly on a SPY QQQs before we wrap up. I just want to show you, I'm just not going to go step by step there, but I'm just going to wrap up so you know that what I have been showing you in the recent days. Look here. So look here. Carefully look here. SPY QQQ. What's happening? 1, 2, 3. This is a 30-minute chart. There's a resistance. The pre-market plan I gave was we had a chop yesterday, same level to break out for the long. If VIX pushes over 17, you shorted, right? And what happens? 1, 2, 3, reject. 1, 2, 3, reject. And that's why the traders took the short on SPY QQQs. Remember these levels. Watch these levels and the SPY and QQQs. You see the fade all the way down. There's a literally traders killed it with like 100% of trades. I mean, these are the opportunities. Look at this QQQ, right from Ripster MTF clouds to the MTF clouds. Insane setups, man. It's a cheat code. You can repeat it for life, but you have to study. You have to master these setups. That's how so many traders that are doing those. So that's how you're seeing those traders doing so much, 250% gains, 240% gains on Amazon, hundreds of percent on QQQ, 330% on QQQs, because of the system. It was simple setup. And it's not like, they need some crazy, of course I'm on voice and guidance, but the education, and I have seen this improvement in the traders even before I had a community. Somebody might say, oh, you do it, on the community. I have done it free. If you go to Ripster Education, you will see that traders have been growing for 8-9 years from my education because what I've seen, what I've been through in the markets, it really helps me to pass it forward and change lives. So you can do that as well, guys. Just amazing day today. Definitely wanted to talk about it. Very proud of my traders, very proud of my followers who are killing it. Don't lose your heart if you had a tough day. Keep your losers small, follow on the repeatable setups, wait for such trend days and just kill it. Just do not lose your hard-earned money on a choppy days when there's no setup. Today was a beautiful trend day once we rejected, and that's how the traders were able to grab so many opportunities. Learn the price action, learn to analyze different names, learn the earning setups, learn the SPY QQQs and the market analysis. Identify what kind of trader you are. Are you a index trader? Are you a stock earnings trader? What kind of setup you like? What is your favorite repeatable setup? Which setup are you losing money? So you need to identify your weakness and just cut your weakness and just focus on your strengths. That's the only way you will find success in the market. I promise you, if you stick with what I teach, you will be also part of those traders who are 70% green in my community. And of course, the traders that, you see that the testimonials on my free website, learning over the years, changing lives. All right, guys, change your lives, stick with the education, learn what I tell you and teach you, implement. And thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all.